In this demonstration, we're going to take a look at the project options that are available in ArcGIS Pro. All right, to access the project options, what you're going to want to do is to go to the Project tab, which is the tab on the far left-hand side of the ArcGIS Pro interface. It has a blue background, white lettering, which is different from the rest of the tabs. So we'll click on Project, and this brings up the Project tab. Right, we'll just go through some of these other additional options before we go to the project options as well, just so you can kind of get a feel for what you're seeing on this particular interface screen. The back arrow button, that just takes you back to the main interface. All right. And then we have a set of tools here for working with projects itself. So you have the ability to create a new project from here. I'm not going to go into the details of how you create a new project in this demonstration. We'll do that in a future demonstration. But basically, you start each project with a template. Esri provides you with several templates here. You can also start it without a template, and you can create your own custom templates as well. And ArcGIS Pro is very much a project-oriented piece of software. So while you don't have to be working with a project every time you open up ArcGIS Pro, typically you are. And that involves either opening an existing project or creating a new project from scratch. The open function, what that will do is present you with a list of projects that you've opened in the past. Now, if you haven't opened ArcGIS Pro before, if it's your first time to open it, obviously your screen is going to look different than what you see here, simply because you haven't worked with projects in the past. But once you've been working with the software for a while, you should see under your list of recent projects a listing of all the projects. Right? And this is a time-based type of thing, so eventually, once you've opened up enough projects, the ones at the bottom begin to fall off at some point. You do have the ability to pin these at the top. If you mouse over into these projects, you'll notice there's a pin icon, and that allows you to essentially pin a project to the top so that it doesn't eventually age out the list of recent projects. Now, even if your project ages out, it doesn't mean that the project has been deleted. Right? You still have this option at the bottom for opening another project, and that will allow you to navigate to the location of any valid project and open it from there. Of course, you have save functions here, save as, if you need to do that. The center section, your portals, this gives you access to any portal connections that you've defined. Obviously, my list here is pretty limited to just ArcGIS Online, but if you're using portal as part of your organization, those connections will be listed here. You have the ability to add additional portal connections as needed. Under licensing, this will give you a view of your current license situation. It'll tell you, what you're licensed in terms of ArcGIS Pro single-use license in my case, basic, standard, or advanced. Any extensions that you may have licensed will be listed here. And then that brings us to the options section, which is kind of what I wanted to focus on primarily in this particular demonstration. When you click on options, that is going to display the options dialog box that you see here. Has a whole list of options down the left-hand side, and these can essentially be broken up into two sections. You have what are called your project options, and then you have your application options. The project options are fairly limited, right? It's limited to current settings, units, and tasks. So any changes that you make to project settings will only impact the current project that you are working on. All right now I'm working on a project called EX2A. So if I make changes, for example, to current settings, right, I might want to change the name of my project or the location or some of these other items. If I make changes here, that is going to impact that EX2A project, but it won't impact any projects I open in the future. So it has a fairly limited scope of option settings, right? I can also go in here and change various types of units, distance units, angular units, area units. But again, I'm only going to impact the current project that I'm working on. Now, the opposite of that are your application level settings. So your application level settings are more global. So they are going to impact not only the current project that you're working on, but also any projects that you open and work with in the future. So in that sense, application level settings are more global than your project settings. Now there's a whole list, and we're not going to go through all these options obviously, but there's a whole set of options that fall under application level settings. We will be going through some of these as we go through the class and focusing on different items. But you can see that you have different options here for making editing options, versioning options if you're working with ArcSDE, geoprocessing options. Right? There's a lot of different options that you can define here, including customizing the ribbon or the quick access toolbar or the user interface. A lot of different options here, but keep in mind, these application level settings are global settings. They will impact not only the current project that you're working on, but also any projects that you work on in the future. All right, I'll just cancel that out. Now you have a few other options here, including Python. All right, this brings up what's called, there's a product called Conda, an open source product that's built into ArcGIS Pro for managing your Python environment. There's an add-in manager if you're looking to add in customized functionality to ArcGIS Pro. You can access the help system from here. The default on the help system is to bring up the help in a web browser. If you prefer to have your help installed locally and not access it through a web browser, through the internet, then you have to do a separate install for the help. If you don't, then otherwise it's just going to open up a browser and take you to the online version of the help, which for a lot of people is fine. Right? Otherwise, you have to do a local install. And then under About, this gives you your product information, right? Your version, copyright information. It will also check for any updates, so you can kind of see it's spinning through here, and it's found that there is a software update available, so it will tell you that, and then make things a little bit easier for you as far as downloading and installing it. And then you can exit as well. All right, so that's really all I wanted to show you for now. In future demonstrations, we'll dive into additional details of ArcGIS Pro. But thank you for joining me for now, and we'll see you next time.